Shifting focus for now, Pakistan senator has launched an attack on Field Marshal Asim Munir inside the parliament. He ridiculed the army chief over his recent trip to Washington, accusing him of behaving less like a military leader and more like a store salesman. Not just that, he mocked Asim Munir for offering rare earth minerals to US President Donald Trump, questioned his mandate, and also stated that the meeting between Munir and Donald Trump undermined Pakistan's democracy. Listen to this.
हमारा चीफ ऑफ द आर्मी स्टाफ बाहर घूम रहे और ब्रीफकेस में रेयर यार व्हाट अ जोक। ये मजाक था। वो तस्वीर जिसने भी देखी, कौन सा चीफ ऑफ द आर्मी स्टाफ ब्रीफकेस में रेयर अर्थ मिनरल लेके जाएगा, और वो मुझे एक बेहतरीन ब्रांड स्टोर लग रहा था जिसमें एक मैनेजर खड़ा बड़ा खुशी खुशी देख रहा था, एक दुकानदार बायर को कह रहे कि आ जाओ मेरे पास बड़ी अच्छी चीजें, ये खरीद लो। किस मुआहदे के तहत, किस कानून के तहत, किस आइन के तहत? ये तो डिक्टेटरशिप है। This is, sorry to say, not democracy.
And earlier on social media, the senator sharpened his criticism with sarcasm, comparing the photo of Munir, Trump and Sharif to an elite designer shop. Not just that. In fact, he is no stranger to politics. He heads the Awami National Party in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and carries a powerful legacy as the grandson of Pashtun leader and the great-grandson of Abdul Ghaffar Khan, known widely as the Frontier Gandhi. Ghaffar Khan was a major figure of India's freedom struggle, remember, who stood firmly by Mahatma Gandhi's ideals of non-violence and civil resistance and was involved in the civil disobedience movement, the Quit India movement and other freedom struggles against the British Raj. And that lineage seemed to be evident as a senator took on Pakistan's most powerful institution inside parliament. And this was not the first international engagement for the Field Marshal, of course. Munir has already made 3 visits to the White House since India carried out Operation Sindoor against terror camps inside Pakistan. And following that operation, Islamabad credited Trump for brokering a ceasefire and even pushed his name for the Nobel Peace Prize. New Delhi, however, has clearly dismissed those claims, insisting that the ceasefire was settled directly between India and Pakistan without US mediation. Washington is preparing to expand its support for Ukraine in a significant manner. US officials have drawn up plans to provide Kiev with intelligence on possible long-range energy infrastructure targets inside Russian territory. And while NATO allies are being pressed by the United States to consider similar assistance, signaling a notable policy adjustment approved by Donald Trump following weeks of sharp criticism directed towards Moscow recently. Ukraine's president, meanwhile, has said that he spoke with Trump regarding long-range weapons and emphasized that the decision now rests with Washington.
With the United States, we are very thankful to President Trump for this dialogue. Last time we had very good meeting, very productive dialogue, and we spoke about long-range missiles, long-range weapon. I mean, we spoke about it, so we will see. Everything depends on his decision.
And the developments coming amid alleged Russian strikes that temporarily cut electricity at the Chernobyl nuclear site. Zelensky accused Moscow of deliberately creating nuclear risks. Ukraine's energy minister later confirmed that power has been restored across all the facilities, including the protective structure at the plant. Besides the intelligence sharing plan, Washington is also reviewing Kiev's request for Tomahawk cruise missiles. These weapons, with a range of 2,500 kilometers, could reach Moscow and cover much of European Russia if deployed from Ukrainian territory. And reacting to these developments, the Kremlin has said that supplies of Tomahawks to Ukraine would be dangerously escalatory. And while the Russian ambassador to the United Nations described Trump as a special politician who seeks quick fixes in situations where quick fixes do not work, similar to Russian foreign minister's comments, the Russian ambassador has said that US long-range weapons would not alter the battlefield situation. And on the ground, Russia has claimed control over another settlement in Ukraine. The Russian Defense Ministry also claimed fresh strikes on Ukrainian energy facilities tied to military production as well as drone assembly and launch sites. Officials have said Iskander-M missiles destroyed a major drone hub in northern Ukraine, including 20 trucks carrying 100 drones. The ministry also announced the capture of Verbove in the Dnipropetrovsk region. On the other hand, Ukraine's general staff reported 155 clashes across the front line within a single day. Officials have said Ukrainian troops successfully repelled Russian offensives in several directions. They repelled Russian offensives in several directions. And they also reported that Ukraine's air defense forces intercepted or neutralized 44 Russian drones. With Russia pressing forward in Ukraine, all eyes now turning to Washington, where the decision on sharing intelligence and supplying Tomahawks could potentially mark the next stage in this war. An investigation into a triple murder in Argentina has led to 2 arrests in Peru, and among the 2 arrested, including a 20-year-old man on accusations that he ordered the brutal torture and killings of 2 women and a teenager. And the chilling murder was live-streamed. The victims' bodies were found buried in a well after they disappeared. The arrest coming days after the authorities said the crime is being investigated as revenge by a gang of Argentine and Peruvian drug traffickers. The arrested, accused 20-year-old Tony Jansen is said to be the alleged ringleader of the killings. While the authorities are coordinating his transfer to the Argentine courts, Jansen was taken into custody from a location about 43 miles from the Peruvian capital. And he is believed to be linked to international drug trafficking networks. Meanwhile, the Peruvian investigators have also arrested fugitive Matthias Augustin, who is reportedly Jansen's right-hand man. The arrest of the duo coming days after 4 people were arrested in the immediate aftermath of the crime. The triple murder case that has caused public outrage in Argentina. Thousands of people marched on Saturday in several parts to demand justice for the killings. Meanwhile, 2 women and a 15-year-old girl were tortured and killed on live stream over an alleged drug theft on September 19. The remains of their dismembered bodies were found 5 days after their disappearance in a slum. The autopsies showed the women had been tortured before being killed 4 days earlier in what the investigators described as an ambush. Addressing a press conference, the Argentinian security minister has said a possible life sentence was likely for those accused in the brutal crime.
All of these alleged responsible individuals, if the investigation in the province of Buenos Aires continues this way, will have, I imagine, I am not a judge, they will all receive life sentences. For us, they are killers. Those who watched the video, those who killed, those who were in the car, all of them. This is the new philosophy that drives the anti-mafia law and our government.
A major development has emerged in the crisis of migrants crossing into England via the English Channel. For the first time, UK officials have spotted what they described as super dinghies. Massive inflatable boats made in China, stretching 40 feet in length and 10 feet wide. And these are not just any ordinary vessels, by the way. They are far larger, far more dangerous, and capable of carrying close to 100 people at once. And one of these boats left the French coast earlier this week itself with around 100 migrants on board. And just days earlier, another carried 125 passengers, reportedly the largest group ever to make the journey in a single vessel. The UK border forces intercepted both those boats in the English Channel. Their arrival brings this year's tally of small boat crossings to nearly 33,500. A figure that matches the first 9 months of 2022, the record year for arrivals. And the shift is stark. What started 7 years ago with an average of just 7 people per crossing has ballooned. This year, the average has reached 61 migrants per boat. Smugglers are reportedly adapting quickly because they believe the rewards outweigh the risks, and the larger the vessel, the greater the profits. Reports revealing these inflatable boats often unfit for sea travel, can be purchased online from Chinese suppliers for as little as £1,000. And some sellers no longer label them as migrant boats, but the marketing leaves little doubt about the intended buyers. And the British officials are saying they are working with the European counterparts to cut off supply chains, asking China to restrict exports of outboard engines and inflatable boats linked to trafficking networks. But the loopholes remain. Most of these boats are produced in eastern Chinese port cities, shipped through Turkey, funneled into the EU via Bulgaria, warehoused in Germany, and eventually stockpiled in northern France before being deployed across the English Channel. And the rise of these boats underscoring the scale of the challenge. What was once a trickle of small craft is now testing Britain's ability to secure its borders and deliver on the promises to end people smuggling.